Lola Day's life has always been a battle. Since losing her mother at a young age, she has lived under the roof of her father and stepmother, enduring constant bullying. Despite this, Lola Day refuses to be broken. Her defiance is what keeps her spirit alive. She's a respectful, intelligent, and thoughtful girl, traits that endear her to the Jong family, her neighbors who moved to Nigeria decades ago from South Korea. Mr. and Mrs. Jong and their daughter Jisoo have always admired Lola Day's strength and resilience. Whenever she visited, they welcomed her with open arms, offering her a safe haven away from her toxic home environment. For Lolad, their home felt like an escape, a glimpse of the warmth and love she desperately craved. The Jong family eventually shared the news that they were relocating back to their homeland, South Korea. Lola Day was heartbroken. The Jongs had always treated her with kindness, and she would miss Jisoo deeply. But Lola Day had a more serious issue to worry about. Things took a darker turn when her father and stepmother decided to force her into marriage with a wealthy man, not out of love or concern for her future, but for financial gain. Lola Day was devastated and confided in Jisoo. When Jisoo heard about Lola Day's predicament, she immediately told her parents. The Jeong family was horrified at the injustice Lola Day faced. That very evening, as they shared dinner, Jisoo made a bold suggestion. Lola Day should come with them to South Korea. Her words stunned everyone, especially Lola Day. She had thought of escaping, but had never dared to voice it aloud. To her surprise, Mr. and Mrs. Jong wholeheartedly supported the idea. They saw it as an opportunity for Lola Day to build a better future away from the toxic environment she had endured for so long. Overwhelmed with gratitude and hope, Lola Day accepted their offer. Arriving in Seoul was like stepping into a dream. The bustling city, the bright lights, and the Jong family's warm home gave Lola Day a renewed sense of purpose. She enrolled in a prestigious high school, determined to excel and make the most of this opportunity. Lola Day made a promise to herself not to entangle herself in love and relationships. She wanted to make good use of this opportunity the Jong family had given her. She didn't want any distractions. However, her presence didn't go unnoticed. Yoon Woo, heir to a sprawling empire, was unlike anyone Lola Day had met before. He traveled extensively and was well exposed, but his humility and respectfulness set him apart. He was not the type to shy away from something he loved. The first time Eunwoo saw Lola Day was in the school sports hall, where she had come to watch the basketball game at Jisoo's insistence. As she walked in, Eunwoo's eyes followed her every move, and he even missed a ball as his attention drifted entirely to her. His friends were shocked. They had never seen Eunwoo act that way before. Jisoo and Lola Day enjoyed the game. It was lively and exciting. After the game, as they were leaving the hall, Eunwoo approached them to say hi. The entire sports hall went silent in shock. Ji-eun and her group, who had been watching closely, were even more stunned. Eunwoo introduced himself and asked Lola Day if she had enjoyed the game. Lola Day, ever polite, replied with a simple yes. But before Eunwoo could say anything further, Lola Day grabbed Jisoo by the hand and hurried out of the hall. Jisoo was over the moon, ecstatic that the most popular guy in school had spoken to them. She couldn't stop gushing about it all the way home. But Lola Day was unmoved. She had no interest in such matters and was focused on staying true to her promise to herself. As days turned into weeks, Lola Day decided to take on a part-time job at a small cafe. Initially, the Jong family hesitated, concerned about how it might affect her studies, but Lola Day convinced them that she could manage both. Eventually, they saw reason and allowed her to work. The job gave Lola Day a sense of independence and purpose, and she enjoyed interacting with the friendly customers who frequented the cafe. Unbeknownst to her, Eunwoo discovered the cafe where she worked. He started visiting occasionally, pretending to be just another customer, but his real motive was to see her and talk to her. Each time he approached, Lola Day was polite, but kept their conversations short, making it clear that she wasn't interested in anything beyond casual pleasantries. Ji-eun, who kept a close watch on Eun-woo, noticed his frequent visits to the cafe. She also saw how his face lit up whenever he and his friends talked about Lola Day. The realization that Eun-woo was genuinely interested in Lola Day made Ji-eun furious. Determined to ruin Lola Day's reputation, she and her clique intensified their efforts to make life difficult for her. They spread rumors around school, hoping to tarnish Lola Day's image and make Eun-woo lose interest. When that didn't work, Ji-eun sabotaged Lola Day's hard work. One of the most painful moments came when Ji-eun destroyed Lola Day's art project, a piece she had poured her heart into. Lola Day tried to ignore their antics, focusing instead on her goals. Even Jisoo was surprised by her silence and restraint. But Lola Day, who had spent years standing up to her stepmother, wasn't one to let injustice slide forever. When Ji-eun's bullying reached a breaking point, Lola Day fought back. Her resilience shone through as she confronted her bullies, proving once again that she wouldn't be defined or defeated by their cruelty. Meanwhile, Eun-woo admired Lola's strength and integrity from afar. Despite her attempts to keep her distance, his feelings for her only grew stronger. He respected her focus and determination, but he couldn't help wanting to be closer to her. Yet every time he tried to spend more time with her, Lola Day found an excuse to avoid him. One day, Jisoo asked Lola Day directly why she was avoiding Eun-woo. "Jisoo," Lola Day explained, "with the kind of family Eun-woo is from, all that wealth, fame, connection, and status, do you think his family will make it easy for him to be with any girl he wants? Even with me avoiding him, look at what Ji-eun and her clique are doing. I'd rather use my energy to focus on school and leave love for later." Though Jisoo understood Lola's perspective, she couldn't help but wonder if Lola Day was closing herself off to a potential happiness. "If you don't try," Jisoo said, "you'll never know if it could work or not." Lola Day smiled but remained resolute. "Maybe, but right now, my focus is on building my future. Love can wait." Ji-eun was furious. No matter what she and her clique did, Lola Day refused to back down. Each attempt to bully her only seemed to strengthen her resolve. What made matters worse was Eun-woo's growing affection for Lola Day, which he didn't bother hiding. He found ways to support her, smiled at her in class, and even openly talked about her in a positive light. To Ji-eun, it was unbearable. The school's annual summer camp provided Ji-eun with a new opportunity to strike. Eun-woo, who had never joined the camp before, decided to attend this year, solely because of Lola Day. For Lola Day, it was her first time going as well, and she and Jisoo planned to have a blast, minding their own business and avoiding drama. But Ji-eun and her clique had other plans. They were determined to make Lola Day's life miserable and force her to leave the school. 3 days into the camp, Ji-eun and her clique made their move. That morning, Lola Day had been experiencing intense menstrual pain as her period came unexpectedly early. Jisoo, concerned for her friend, decided to join another group outing project on her own, encouraging Lola Day to rest and take it easy. Ji-eun, knowing how much Lola Day cared for Jisoo, seized the opportunity. She and her friend stole Jisoo's phone and sent a disturbing message to Lola Day, asking her to come quickly to a specific location. Lola Day, unable to reach Jisoo by phone and worried for her safety, hurried to the spot despite her pain. When she arrived, she quickly realized it was a trap. The area was eerily quiet, and there was no sign of Jisoo. Before she could leave, a pack of stray dogs appeared, barking aggressively and running toward her. Terrified of dogs, Lola Day ran for cover, unaware that her phone had fallen during her escape. She found a shaded area to hide, trembling as the dogs lingered nearby. Lola Day tried to call Jisoo again, only to discover her phone was missing. With no way to contact anyone, she was stuck, her pain worsening and fear mounting. Hours passed as she remained in her hiding spot, waiting for the dogs to leave. Just as she began to feel a glimmer of relief, the rain started pouring heavily. She wasn't surprised. Jisoo had mentioned the likelihood of a downpour that morning, but the cold wind and relentless rain added to her misery. Shivering and drenched, Lola Day could only hope that someone would come looking for her. She thought of Jisoo and the Jong family, praying someone would realize she was missing and come to her rescue. As time dragged on, Lola Day's mind raced. Despite her situation, she refused to let fear take over. She reminded herself that she had faced worse and survived, but as the hours stretched, the physical pain and cold began to take their toll. All she could do was wait and hope that Jisoo or someone else would find her before it was too late. Back at camp, Jisoo became increasingly worried. She decided to check on Lola Day to see how she was feeling, only to discover that her phone was missing. This was alarming. She always kept her phone with her, especially when away from home. Jisoo hurriedly left her group and returned to their tent, but Lola Day was nowhere to be found. Panicking, Jisoo tried calling Lola Day's phone, but there was no response. The heavy rain only heightened her anxiety. Deep down, Jisoo knew that Ji-eun had something to do with this. As she ran to inform the teachers about Lola Day's disappearance, she bumped into Yoonwoo and his friends. Struggling to catch her breath, Jisoo told them everything, including her suspicion that Ji-eun was responsible. Yoonwoo's usual calm demeanor shattered. Fury blazed in his eyes as he stormed off to confront Ji-eun. When she denied any involvement, his voice thundered with anger. "If I find even a scratch on her, you will pay dearly for it." His intensity left everyone around them stunned, including Ji-eun, who had never seen him so enraged. Overwhelmed by his reaction, Ji-eun finally confessed and revealed Lola Day's location. Without wasting a second, Yoonwoo dashed out into the rain. He drove as fast as he could, his heart pounding with worry. As the rain lashed against the windshield, his mind was filled with thoughts of Lola Day. It was in that moment he realized just how deeply he loved her. The mere thought of her being in danger brought tears to his eyes. When he arrived at the location, Yoonwoo jumped out of the car, completely ignoring the downpour. He spotted Lola Day's phone on the ground and knew he was in the right place. A few steps further, he found her squatting under a shade, shivering from the cold and soaked to the bone. Rushing to her side, Yoonwoo immediately wrapped his arms around her, shielding her from the rain. "Are you hurt?" he asked urgently, his voice filled with concern. "I'm so sorry I didn't come sooner." Relief washed over Lola Day as she realized she was no longer alone. She didn't care about how she looked. All that mattered was that someone had found her. Yoonwoo quickly draped a jacket over her shoulders and helped her to his car. Lola Day hesitated, worried about sitting in the car given her condition. "Don't worry about that," Yoonwoo assured her gently. "Just focus on staying warm." On the way back to camp, Yoonwoo stopped at a convenience store. He returned a few minutes later with a bag filled with essentials: sanitary pads, tea for the cold and pain, and dry clothes. Lola Day was deeply touched by his thoughtfulness. She changed into the dry clothes in the store's restroom and sipped the warm tea as they resumed their journey. Yoonwoo called Jisoo to let her know that Lola Day was safe. Jisoo, overwhelmed with relief, burst into tears over the phone. By the time they returned to camp, everyone had heard about what happened. Seeing Lola Day safe and sound, the entire group let out a collective sigh of relief. But what stood out most was the way Yoonwoo looked at Lola Day. His love for her was undeniable. And for the first time, Lola Day allowed herself to truly see the depth of his feelings. Though exhausted, she couldn't help but feel a flicker of gratitude and admiration for Eunwoo, whose actions spoke louder than any words ever could. Summer camp was over, and everyone was back at school. The events that had unfolded during the trip left an indelible mark on many, especially Lola Day. She returned more determined than ever to not let Ji-eun's antics get the better of her. If anything, the camp had shown Lola Day that Ji-eun was relentless, but it also reminded her of her own resilience. Ji-eun, however, was not done. Seeing how her plans had failed to faze Lola Day, she grew angrier and more desperate. One afternoon, Ji-eun decided to confront Lola Day in the hallway. Blocking her path with a smug smirk, Ji-eun crossed her arms and leaned in. "You think you're so special, don't you?" she hissed. "But let me tell you, your time is running out." Jisoo, who was walking beside Lola Day, felt her blood boil. She was ready to argue, but before she could open her mouth, Lola Day held up a hand, silencing her. Turning to Ji-eun with a calm yet piercing gaze, Lola Day said, "If you weren't such an olodo, you'd have figured out by now that nothing you do will ever make me stoop to your level." Ji-eun blinked, taken aback. "Olo? What?" she stammered. Jisoo burst out laughing. "Olodo means a very dull person in Nigeria," she explained between giggles. "Basically, she just called you, well, not so bright." As the meaning sunk in, Ji-eun's face turned red with anger and embarrassment. You, she sputtered, but before she could form a coherent sentence, Lola Day added with a smile, "Move out of the way, Miss Olodo." Lola Day and Jisoo walked past her, their laughter echoing through the hallway. Ji-eun stood frozen, her jaw clenched and her fists trembling at her sides. Students nearby, who had overheard the exchange, began to snicker, making Ji-eun even more flustered. Jisoo could barely contain herself as she leaned into Lola Day. "I can't believe you called her that. You're savage." Lola Day shrugged with a grin. She had it coming. Sometimes you've just got to speak the language they'll understand. From that day on, the nickname Miss Olodo followed Ji-eun around the school, much to her dismay. But for Lola Day, it was a reminder that standing tall and keeping her wits about her was the best way to handle any challenge. And as always, Jisoo was right by her side, ready to laugh through it all. Yoonwoo, meanwhile, had heard about the incident between Lola Day and Ji-eun. The fact that Lola Day refused to allow Ji-eun to bully her into submission only made Eunwoo's admiration for her grow. Her courage and strength captivated him even more, and he found himself thinking about her constantly. Every story he heard about her standing up for herself added another layer to the deep feelings he was developing for her. After the summer camp ordeal, Lola Day couldn't shake the feeling that she owed Yoonwoo a thank you for everything he had done for her. She wanted to show her gratitude, but didn't know what kind of gift would be appropriate. That day at the cafe, Jisoo excitedly chatted about Yoonwoo's upcoming birthday party. But Lola Day, knowing that Ji-eun would be there, told Jisoo she wouldn't attend. "Oh, come on," Jisoo groaned. "You have to come." "No, I don't," Lola Day said firmly. "I can already imagine Ji-eun making a scene, and Yoonwoo doesn't deserve that at his own party." Jisoo sighed dramatically, but then brightened. "Look, Lola Day, going to the party is also a way to say thank you to Yoonwoo for helping us at the camp. Besides, I'll be there with you. Ji-eun won't dare pull anything with both of us around." Reluctantly, Lola Day agreed, but still insisted on giving Yoonwoo a gift. "He's been so good to me, Jisoo. I want to give him something meaningful." Jisoo grinned. "Lola Day, Yoonwoo is super rich. What could you possibly give someone who already has everything?" Lola Day thought about it for a moment before an idea struck her. "What about cooking something special? Something from Nigeria? I could make jollof rice for him. He's probably never had it before, and it's something unique." Jisoo's eyes widened with excitement. "That's genius. Lola Day, he's in love with you. Making him something personal like that will be unforgettable." Lola Day blushed. "I'm not sure about that, but if you think it's a good idea, I'll do it." On the morning of the party, Lola Day and Jisoo got up early to prepare the jollof rice and chicken. They made a small portion, just for Eunwoo, and carefully packed it in a decorative container. As they worked, Jisoo teased Lola Day. "Think of it as cooking for your husband." Lola Day rolled her eyes but couldn't help laughing. "Stop it, Jisoo. You're impossible." When they arrived at the party, Eunwoo's face lit up at the sight of Lola Day. "You came," he said, his voice filled with genuine happiness, "and you brought me a gift?" He held the container like it was a treasure. Right there, in front of everyone, he opened it and tasted the jollof rice. His eyes widened with delight. "This is amazing," he said, taking another bite. Jisoo, unable to contain herself, chimed in, "Lola Day woke up early to make it just for you. It's a specialty from her homeland." Eunwoo looked at Lola Day with so much warmth that she felt her cheeks heat up. "Thank you," he said softly. "This is the best gift I've ever received." Across the room, Ji-eun watched the exchange with a face like thunder. Earlier, Eunwoo had warned her in no uncertain terms. "Ji-eun, stay away from Lola Day. If you keep trying to make her life difficult, you'll regret it. Fighting her means fighting me." His words echoed in her mind as she stormed out of the party, fuming with anger. Meanwhile, Lola Day couldn't help but smile as Eunwoo enjoyed her cooking. For the first time, she felt like she had truly done something meaningful for him. And as the night went on, she realized that maybe, just maybe, Eunwoo's feelings for her were more than she had allowed herself to believe. Eunwoo had been wrestling with his emotions for weeks. His feelings for Lola Day had only grown deeper, but the thought of confessing them filled him with both hope and dread. What if she said no? What if she didn't feel the same way? He voiced his concerns to his friends, who were quick to tease him. "Eunwoo," one of them laughed, "you're the most popular guy in school. You've never been nervous about anything. Why are you freaking out about this?" Eunwoo sighed, running a hand through his hair. "It's not the same. Lola Day isn't like anyone else. She's always friendly and polite with me, but she never really gives me much time to have a long conversation with her. It makes me feel like she might say no. I can't bear the thought of that." His friends exchanged glances, sensing how serious Eunwoo was about this. "You've got to try," one of them encouraged. "She might surprise you." Meanwhile, Jisoo had been working hard to convince Lola Day to give Eunwoo a chance. Over coffee one afternoon, she launched into her usual campaign. "Lola Day, I don't know why you keep holding back. Eunwoo is sweet, kind, thoughtful, and clearly head over heels for you. What more could you want?" Lola Day smiled faintly. "Jisoo, I see all the qualities you mention, and I won't lie. I've come to like him too. But I can't help but worry about the stress it might bring if his family objects. You know where I'm coming from. You know my story. I've fought so hard to get to where I am, and I don't have the energy to deal with that kind of drama." Jisoo leaned forward, placing a hand on Lola Day's. "Just focus on the present," she said softly. "Leave what will happen in the future for the future. You deserve to be happy, Lola Day. And it's clear that Eunwoo makes you happy, even if you won't admit it." Lola Day didn't respond immediately, but her thoughts lingered on Eunwoo more and more in the days that followed. She found herself looking forward to seeing him at school and the cafe. Was she falling for him? Eunwoo's restlessness hadn't gone unnoticed at home. One evening, as they sat down for dinner, his mother, Mrs. Yoon, gave him a curious look. "You've been distracted lately," she said. "What's on your mind, Eunwoo?" After a moment's hesitation, Eunwoo pulled out his phone and showed her a picture of Lola Day. "It's her," he admitted. "Lola Day. I want to ask her to be my girlfriend, but I'm afraid she'll say no." Mrs. Yoon studied the photo for a moment before smiling warmly. "She's beautiful," she said. "And from what you've told me about her, she sounds like a wonderful person." Eunwoo nodded. "She is, but What if she doesn't feel the same way? What if your approval becomes an issue? Mrs. Yoon reached across the table to take his hand. Yoonwoo, go ahead and ask her first. If you don't ask, how will you know the answer? As long as she's the girl you truly love and want to be with, then I will love her too. I'm not a wicked mother-in-law, she added with a laugh. Go for it, my son. You're a wonderful person, and I believe she'll see that too. Yoonwoo felt a surge of confidence from his mother's words. He decided then and there to ask Lola Day by the end of the week. With help from his friends and Jisoo, Yoonwoo made plans for a special evening at the cafe. He wanted Lola Day to feel comfortable and relaxed, so he chose the place where they often spent time. He even picked out a beautiful necklace with a heart pendant as a gift. When the evening arrived, Yoonwoo could barely contain his nerves. Lola Day, sensing something different about the atmosphere, felt her own heart race as they sat down together. Their friends discreetly left them alone, giving them the space they needed. Lola Day, Yoonwoo began, his voice slightly shaky. I've wanted to tell you something for a long time. Lola Day looked at him curiously, her hands tightening around her coffee cup. I've loved you since the very first day I saw you at the sports hall, he continued, his eyes earnest. From that day, I've wanted to be more than friends. Will you be my girlfriend? I know you have your reservations, but please take some time to think about it before giving an answer. Lola Day could see how nervous he was. She had been thinking about this moment ever since Jisoo started urging her to consider Yoonwoo. Deep down, she knew she had come to love him too. But the fear of rejection from his family still lingered in her mind. Then she remembered Jisoo's words, if you don't try it, you'll never know if it could work or not. Taking a deep breath, Lola Day smiled softly. Yoonwoo, she said, you don't have to wait for my answer. It's yes. For a moment, Yoonwoo stared at her in disbelief. Then his face broke into the biggest grin she had ever seen. Yes, he repeated, his voice filled with joy. You said yes. His excitement was so contagious that Lola Day laughed. Before she could respond, he stood up and cheered, drawing the attention of everyone in the cafe. Their friends, who had been eavesdropping nearby, burst into applause. Even Jisoo couldn't contain her excitement. I knew it, Jisoo exclaimed, clapping her hands. I knew you two were meant to be together. Lola Day felt her cheeks flush as Yoonwoo sat back down, still grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. Thank you, he said, his voice soft but filled with emotion. You've made me the happiest person in the world. Jisoo leaned in with a teasing smile. Lola Day, I told you he was worth it. As the evening continued, the cafe buzzed with excitement and laughter. For the first time in a long time, Lola Day felt truly happy. And as she looked at Yoonwoo, she realized that maybe, just maybe, taking this leap of faith was the best decision she had ever made. Yoonwoo and Lola Day were now officially dating, and their love blossomed beautifully. Yoonwoo could hardly contain his joy, often finding himself smiling at the smallest things because he was so deeply in love. Lola Day, too, felt a newfound happiness, though she remained cautious given her past experiences. One evening, while on a romantic date, Yoonwoo gazed at Lola Day with a tender expression. Lola Day, he said softly, you mean the world to me. I never knew it was possible to feel this way about anyone. Lola Day, overwhelmed by his heartfelt words, felt tears of joy well up in her eyes. She smiled through her tears, realizing how deeply she had come to trust and care for him. Their bond grew even stronger with each passing day. One cool afternoon, Mrs. Yoon approached Yoonwoo with an idea. Invite Lola Day to dinner, she suggested warmly. I'd love to get to know her better. Yoonwoo was thrilled and eagerly shared the news with Lola Day the next day. To his surprise, Lola Day hesitated. I'm not sure, she said, trying to come up with an excuse. Her hesitation worried Yoonwoo, but after some gentle prodding, she finally confessed her fear. What if your family doesn't approve of me? I don't want to come between you and them. Relieved, Yunwoo laughed softly. Lola Day, I thought it was something worse. My family knows how much you mean to me, and they're happy that I've found someone I love. Please don't worry. No one can come between us. Despite his reassurances, Lola Day still felt nervous. Jisoo, ever the supportive friend, joined in on the preparations, helping Lola Day choose an outfit and pick out a small gift for the Yoon family. You're meeting your future mother-in-law, Jisoo teased, making Lola Day laugh despite her nerves. Relax, she's going to love you. Mrs. Jong also offered her encouragement. Just be yourself, she said gently. They'll see how wonderful you are. On the day of the dinner, Yunwoo picked up Lola Day and Jisoo. As they arrived at the Yoon mansion, Lola Day's nerves were evident, but Jisoo's chatter about the lavish interiors helped lighten the mood. When Mrs. Yoon greeted them, she was warm and welcoming, immediately putting Lola Day at ease. I'm not an evil mother-in-law, Mrs. Yoon joked with a twinkle in her eye. Think of me as a fairy godmother instead. The dinner was a delightful affair. Mrs. Yoon had gone out of her way to prepare Lola's favorite Korean dishes, a thoughtful gesture that deeply touched her. As they laughed and shared stories, Lola Day realized how genuine and loving Yunwoo's family truly was. Before they left, Mrs. Yoon presented Lola Day with a beautifully wrapped box. Inside was a delicate bracelet, hand-picked by Yunwoo himself. Welcome to our family, Mrs. Yoon said with a smile. Later that evening, as Yunwoo dropped the girls off at home, he and Lola Day stood under the starry sky. Lola Day, Yunwoo began, his voice filled with emotion. I never knew it was possible to love someone as much as I love you. You make me want to be better, and I don't want you to ever worry about anything. My mom adores you, and so do I. Lola Day couldn't hold back her tears as they embraced. Thank you, Yunwoo, she whispered, for everything. When Lola Day stepped inside, she was greeted by Mr. and Mrs. Jong. She ran to Mrs. Jong and hugged her tightly. Thank you, she said, her voice trembling with gratitude. Concerned, Mrs. Jong asked if everything had gone well. Jisoo grinned and teased. Yes, Mrs. Yoon is officially the fairy godmother mother-in-law, not the evil one. Everyone laughed, and Lola Day shyly smiled. Jisoo went on to share how Mrs. Yoon had prepared Lola Day's favorite food and even given her a special gift, confirming her place as part of the Yoon family. Seeing Lola Day so happy brought tears of joy to Mr. and Mrs. Jong's eyes. For the first time in years, Lola Day truly felt she had a family who loved and supported her unconditionally. Months later, Yunwoo and Lola Day's relationship continued to flourish. They had become inseparable, balancing their studies with moments of joy and laughter. Yunwoo often surprised Lola Day with thoughtful gestures, while Lola Day brought a sense of grounded warmth to his life. One evening, as they sat under the same star-filled sky, Yunwoo shared a dream of his. Lola Day, he began, I want us to travel the world together one day, to see your home in Nigeria, to share our cultures, and to build memories in places we've only dreamed of. Lola Day's eyes lit up with excitement. That sounds amazing, Yunwoo, and I want to introduce you to the people who shaped me, just as you've introduced me to yours. Their dream of a shared future brought them even closer. With Jisoo cheering them on and their families offering unwavering support, Yunwoo and Lola Day embarked on a new chapter of their lives, one filled with love, adventure, and the promise of endless possibilities. What did you learn from this story? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications so you never miss an update. Don't forget to share this video with someone who would love it. Thank you so much for watching.